Someone is going to insult you today, embarrass you in front of people, or try to get under your skin. And whatever you do in the 3 seconds after that happens will decide whether you walk away more powerful than before, or whether you just handed a complete stranger the exact instructions for controlling you next time. Most people go their entire lives without knowing there's a hidden tax on every reaction they give away for free, and the people who understand this tax are the same ones you've watched stay completely unshaken while someone tried everything to rattle them, and it probably drove you a little insane trying to figure out how. Here's the truth. Almost nobody says out loud, powerful people aren't calm because nothing affects them. They're calm because they figured out something the rest of us never got taught, and once you hear it, you'll never watch a confrontation the same way again. Watch what happens the next time someone insults a powerful person in front of a room full of people. Nothing. No flinch. No defense, not even a change in breathing, and that nothing is exactly why everyone walks away talking about how unshakable they seemed, when really, all they did was refuse to give away something everyone else gives away for free every single day. Most people think power looks like control over others, money, status, or being able to make things happen with a phone call, but the actual foundation underneath all of that is something far smaller and far less discussed: the refusal to let your face, your voice, or your next move be decided by someone else's provocation. Here's the first thing almost nobody explains properly about this, and it's called the reaction tax. Every time you respond instantly to something, an insult, a rumor, someone testing you in front of others, you're paying a hidden cost because that instant reaction tells the person who triggered it exactly which buttons work on you, and now they own that information permanently, ready to use it again whenever it's convenient for them. Think about the last time someone said something clearly designed to get under your skin, and you snapped back right away. Did it actually resolve anything, or did it just confirm to them, in real time, that they'd found a lever worth pulling again later? That's the mechanism, and it explains something people rarely connect. The more visibly you react to a provocation, the more power you've actually handed over, not the other way around, even though it feels like the opposite in the moment. Here's the second mechanism, and it's the one that separates people who seem powerful from people who actually are, because it's less about what you do and more about what you refuse to need. Powerful people have quietly made peace with the fact that not everyone will understand them, agree with them, or even like them, and that acceptance changes how they carry themselves, because a person who needs approval from every room they walk into will always be slightly off balance, always adjusting, always scanning faces for reassurance. But someone who's already decided that disapproval is survivable stops flinching at the possibility of it, and that stillness is what gets mistaken for confidence when really it's just the absence of a fear most people never examine. Quick pause here, because if you've ever replayed an interaction for hours just because one person seemed unimpressed with you, that's usually the exact spot where someone else's opinion has more control over you than you realize. Here's the third mechanism, and this is where it gets genuinely strategic. Silence after being challenged isn't just self-control, it's actively disorienting to the other person, because human beings are wired to feel deeply uncomfortable with uncertainty, and unanswered provocation creates exactly that. When you don't respond immediately, the other person is left holding their own comment in the air with nothing to measure it against, and that discomfort often makes them talk more, backtrack, or reveal something they hadn't intended to, purely because silence forces information out of people who can't tolerate not knowing what you're thinking. This is why the person who says the least in a tense conversation frequently walks away knowing the most. Here's the fourth mechanism, and it's what makes everything else usable under real pressure. The pause between being triggered and responding is not empty space. It's the entire mechanism working. Most people rush through that half-second gap as fast as possible, but powerful people treat it as the most valuable part of the interaction, because it's the only moment where a choice is actually still possible before the automatic reflex takes over. That pause doesn't require suppressing what you feel. It simply requires separating the feeling from the action, which means you can be genuinely angry or hurt internally, while still choosing, deliberately, whether that feeling gets to leave the room through your mouth or your face. And here's the fifth and final mechanism, the one that ties everything together. Powerful people have built their identity on something that exists independently of any single interaction, which means no individual insult or embarrassing moment can fully define them, because they were never staking their entire sense of self on that one exchange to begin with. This is why the same insult that would completely derail one person barely registers with another. It's not that the powerful person is immune, it's that their sense of who they are was built on a foundation solid enough that a single provocation simply can't reach it. Put these together, refusing to pay the reaction tax, making peace with not being universally liked, using silence to disorient instead of escalate, treating the pause as the actual mechanism, and anchoring your identity somewhere unshakable, and you get something that looks like effortless composure, but was actually built quietly, one unreacted provocation at a time. This is exactly why powerful people never seem to need the last word, never seem desperate to correct every misunderstanding, because they stopped participating in the exchange the provocation was actually asking for a long time ago. Most people will keep reacting instantly for the rest of their lives, keep handing away information about their weak points for free, keep mistaking a fast response for strength when it's usually the opposite. But you don't have to be one of them. The next time someone tries to provoke a reaction out of you, don't suppress it and don't perform being unbothered either. Just pause, let the silence exist a moment longer than feels comfortable, and choose your response instead of defaulting to the first one that shows up. Because the moment you stop reacting on command, you finally become the only person in the room who's actually thinking.